so MadiNho banned Optimizer, surprisingly, because I think that's going to be Avi-Love's ban, but maybe because he saw MadiNho ban Optimizer, he might not even ban Optimizer. I don't know, Reap the Storm, I guess. I really don't know. Yeah, I wouldn't be even surprised to see Polypoid, honestly. Like, no joke, because I know it's not a good map, but, like, there's a lot of incremental bases you can take, and there's a lot of high ground to work with as Terran, which is good to defend on. I could literally see, I mean, you can take the game to like 50 minutes, 60 minutes even, so looks like MadiNho likes that style. But I think, you know, the problem with, so in a vacuum, right, like if you think about the compositions, Terran compositions or composition, Terran just completely destroys Zerg, right? If you have vessels, tanks, goliaths, and Zerg has, I mean, just anything Zerg can throw at Terran, it's going to die to mech. And in that game, you saw MadiNho got into a position where he had tanks. He had vessels with a bunch of energy. He had like 4 or 5 vessels. They had D-Matrix, EMP, Irradiate. He had tanks with upgrades. The point is to not let Terran get to that point. You know how much gas that takes, right? Like, that takes so much gas to get to. That takes so much infrastructure to get to. And Avi-Love just isn't... He's not crisp enough on his attacks to really punish the Terran when they're weakest, which is in the early mid-game. We saw that game. I mean, MadiNho had 6 factories with starport going, armories, vessels, off of 2 gas. It's something's got to give. Like, you just cannot afford that much. But Avi-Love just not aggressive enough, playing way too patient every game, not getting that queen count up early, and just letting MadiNho kind of get into that spot where it's just so hard to break Terran. Like, it's so hard. It's objectively hard. So, like, who was right?
I can't believe it.
Huh?
I would never pick this map if I was playing versus Avi-Love. The bases are so far, but third game is going to be Polypoid. Is it going to be Avi-Love, or is it going to be MadiNho making it out as our first winner from Group C and going into the winners match? So in the top left, in the red, or wait, in the red, it is MadiNho.
Yeah, and in the bottom left, in the blue, it is Avi-Love. And Polypoid, once again, people should pay me, dude. Coach Gypsy, I don't know. Nostradamus Gypsy, the Prophet. I mean, I just know what's going through these players' heads, dude.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I know how this game is gonna play out.
Okay, hit me with it.
I don't know, it's hard to say, because it's just so hard to make mech work on this map.
Okay.
But I wouldn't be surprised if MadiNho won this map somehow.
Well, let me tell you this. He's already going different than what I was expecting, because top left is one of the maps you can wall, or one of the positions you can wall, and that is an in-base depot. This might be the first game we end up seeing some bio play, and this might catch Avi-Love potentially off guard, because you just faced a guy who was content with not attacking you the entire game. Now he's going to go into bio. That's an in-base Rax. Everything so far looks like it could be potentially bio, but thinking back to the Eclipse game that we just saw, even with an in-base Rax, he ended up still going into delayed mech.
Yeah, and I feel like as a player, so, you know, thinking about competitive theory, I guess, right, where there's a real issue that players face, and it's this idea of mind games and this idea of what your opponent's range is, right? Like, in theory, Terran could play anything, right? Could play mech, could play bio, could play ARAX, 2-port. There's so many builds. Now, is one player going to be good at all those builds? No. I mean, unless you're Flash. But even Flash, you don't see him do stuff like 2-port too much. The point is, Avi-Love, like, if I'm in Avi-Love's shoes, I'm just assuming it's going to be mech. And I'm inviting MadiNho to show me that he can do bio. And even if he does get like some marginal advantage, right, from like the mind games here, where maybe he goes for bio play and then Avi-Love is like, oh shit. Well, the drone actually goes down somehow. So that was actually huge because Avi-Love is not going to get. Well, actually, it's not that bad. But the point is, even if MadiNho bios right, is it going to be good enough to offset the is it going to be good enough, basically? Is Avi-Love going to care? I'm not sure, right? So I don't know what to say. I'd be surprised if MadiNho goes bio because he just hasn't shown it at all.
Well, I think Avi-Love's in a bit of trouble because losing that drone does hurt as Zerg. And also, he went something like 11 hatch, 10 pool, 9 gas, or something crazy. So he's already cut his econ quite a bit. And now that this SCV is getting pushed out, I think we're going to see a repeat of Benzene Hydra Den come down pretty soon. I'm anticipating that. He is getting the lair, but still no Hydra Den just yet. Another SCV coming out for MadiNho. He knows that he does need to scout and see exactly what Avi-Love is going for, since Avi-Love has already shown that he can go for Spire, he can go for Hydra Den. And as you were saying, this is going to be delayed mech again. Factory's going down for MadiNho in his base. I think he's already lifted the rack, so he's creating a wall.
Yeah.
And the Lings come back just in time to intercept this SCV.
It's just, the thing is, I think as a player, right, you really, like some players, you know what the good tournament players are? The ones that don't try to catch all every single game, right? Again, going back to Tai 2, right? Because Tai 2 is the prime example of a really strong tournament player, but not the most strong, like, fundamental player. He just doesn't think about winning every single game. Like, every single game, 100%. He just throws stuff out there. And MadiNho, he just hasn't shown that he can play bio, ever. Right, in BSL? I mean, I don't even remember him playing bio in any game, even in previous BSLs, in TvZ specifically. Maybe he's had one game. So, there's literally no reason for Avi-Love to respect that possibility. And even if Avi-Love loses one game to bio, it has to happen before he starts reacting. You know what I mean? I don't know if this idea is getting across, but like, there's no point in thinking MadiNho can do everything, but this Ling attack is going to be really scary here because I don't know if there's that many Marines in the bunker, but nice SimCity there from MadiNho.
Well, MadiNho's in trouble because no eBay has started. Armory is like 25% along, and Muta's going to be coming out pretty soon. So there's about 30 seconds until Mutas get into MadiNho's base. He's going to have 0 Goliaths. And because there's no eBay, I think these Lings have done a really good job to throw MadiNho off on the exact timing. They're going to catch the vulture too, so that's going to make MadiNho even more cautious with his defense. eBay is about what, 70% of the way along, but he needs to send them instantly. Oh, I can't believe that this eBay is actually going to be in time. The Spire was so fast, I thought for sure that MadiNho was going to be in trouble, but instead he is just going to barely get these turrets up in time. Does see that the third base is going up for Avi-Love, but this Muta Rush is not going to do anything for him. Well, maybe he found the sweet spot in the back. Of course, just like every other Zerg, they're able to pick apart the Terran in the backside of the mineral line.
Yeah, finds a really good spot there, but again, it's only 4 Mutalists and still getting a lot of value. Killed 3 SCVs so far. If he kills some more, that's going to be huge because this investment from Avi-Love is not that big and he's droning behind it. Loses 1 Mutalisk though. And these vultures are actually going to be really annoying. These vultures are going to do so much damage. They get into Avi-Love's natural. Kill only 1 drone so far. 2 drones go down. 3 drones maybe? No. So Avi-Love crisis averted there because he actually made only 4 Mutalisks and 1 more Muta there that popped out in his base. And he's just been droning nonstop. This one drone, or this one vulture at the third base could also get a lot of kills. So MadiNho really good at finding harassment with these vultures and kind of counter punching there when he took so much damage from the Mutalisks, the initial Mutalisks. So evening it out. And Avi-Love here has 2 major, a couple of decisions to make. But is he going to stay on Mutalisks? Is he going to try and transition to Hydras? Is he going to try and bust the Terran here? Or is he going to try and expand? There's a lot of stuff that Zerg can do. Now against MadiNho, I just feel like if he expands, he's going to be in a good spot.
Well, again, we see that MadiNho delaying his gas for quite some time, and this is generally a timing attack. We saw that the third factory went down in MadiNho's base, but based off of last game, this could be another game where he just tries to camp it out, tries to take not middle, tries to take his middle only. Avi-Love is starting to saturate his third base. I didn't see any macro hatches just yet for him. Vulture is trying to get some damage done. Looks like that's just going to be taken out instantly. Now, I am curious. There we go. 5 fact. But is it going to be for a timing this time, you think? Or is there going to be a starport coming in?
No, because MadiNho does this a lot. He builds up his factory count just to be able to make a decent amount of units. And then he just expands. And to be honest, that's really kind of... I mean, it's not optimal play, without a doubt. But as a Zerg player, it's really hard to read that. And we actually saw when we watched, who was it? Bobo play against MadiNho. He just had absolutely no read. He kept making units because he thought the timing attack was coming. And then he just, and MadiNho expanded behind it and just won off of that. So, you know, is Avi-Love going to recognize that? Now, this game specifically, it definitely looks like a timing Nyoken, like you said, because he doesn't have a starport. But because it's MadiNho, I wouldn't be surprised if he just puts down a command center. And the thing is, the fact that he's making so many vultures, that is a tell that maybe it's not going to be a timing, but he's killing so many drones that I think that might actually trigger him to attack.
Yeah, this is going to be like the 3rd or 4th time that he's finding success under this drone line in this Polypoid game. Going to maybe get another drone right there. Okay, now that was a 2-shot onto the drones. That means he should have +1 weapon. So he is intending to harass Avi-Love down. And that may mean that he is actually going to expand pretty soon. Avi-Love must suspect that some type of timing is coming because he's continuing to build more mutas. They do have +1 armor, may even be getting +2 armor. Looks like the Goliaths have decided that they are in critical mass. They are going to move out. LZ Gamer Base going up at mid-right, but simply because of how well MadiNho has been harassing with these vultures, I think he'll probably find it at some point. Now that is a potentially very scary army. It looks like about 15 Goliaths, but we've already seen 15 to 16 Mutalisks combo with Hydras. I think this could be MadiNho overstepping his boundaries right here.
Yeah, this isn't critical mass from Terran. He doesn't have tanks to complement the Goliaths, and he doesn't have 1-1 quite yet. He might have +1 armor finish here in the next 10 seconds if he's hitting his timings properly, but this is going to be catching Avi-Love out of position though, because Avi-Love had no vision on this attack, and only now does he realize that he's getting timing attacked, and he actually has no Hydralisks. He's been committing to making mutas only, which is really good for MadiNho, and I think MadiNho is going to be able to do it. Look, he's putting down turrets. He has mass Goliaths against what's going to be mass Mutalisks. Now, this is going to be a lot of Mutalisks to kill, but I think MadiNho, if he micros this correctly, he has more than enough. Here come the Mutalisks right on top.
He's focusing the hatchery, he's going to shoot the Mutalisks. Now this is going to probably be the game-deciding fight. Does MadiNho have enough? It looks like he doesn't. That is so many Mutalisks. What, about 24 Mutalisks there, and he easily cleans up the Goliaths, but turrets behind it? Avi-Love doesn't care about those 2 turrets, but Avi-Love did lose 2 hatcheries, and now he's only mining on 2 bases. He still has mid-right, which has gone unscouted, but that's a lot of potential macro to be lost there. Avi-Love getting punished for being out of position for just a second. You can see that. Why is he sending an SCV to mid-right? Can you tell me why it's going to mid-right? He's going to find this base.
Yeah, that is just 6 star sense, probably expecting. I mean, he's also scouting bottom right with his vulture, so I think he was scouting every base, or with an SCV. So he's actually scouting every base except the top left portion of the map, which is the least likely to have a base. So really heads up play there from MadiNho, and that was obviously really good for Avi-Love breaking that timing attack. But the problem is that he lost so much production that he's basically only going to have these 2 control groups of mutas to work with for a while he rebuilds his economy, and that's going to take a while. And you can see he doesn't even have enough resources to replenish his hatchery that went down. He only is expanding, but he's definitely down on production. So the thing is, even though MadiNho basically lost his entire attack there, he's going to have so much time to rebuild. And now I wonder, is MadiNho just going to go for a follow-up attack or is he going to expand? And I think if MadiNho expands, that would be really good for him because, well, he's about to mine out soon enough here from his main, and his natural problem, or at least his main for sure, is going to be very low. But starport only now going up.
Well, that is a ton of Goliaths. He also has a ton of turrets for defense if he was to get backstabbed. If he had scan here and was able to scan mid-right, he would see there's no Sunkens there. That would have been a potential move that he could have done. I think he has enough Goliaths there to actually overwhelm the Mutalisk, but as I say that, 2 Sunkens already going up, so maybe that would have been a bad move. And instead, I think Command Center is going to be coming in pretty soon. Science Facility should be starting pretty soon, so he's going to be going into those heavy upgrades. But just like last game, Avi-Love has so much macro, has so many bases, that I'm getting a little bit worried that MadiNho's taking too long to take his third base, just like on Benzing. Another factory coming in, another armory coming in, and I haven't seen a Command Center anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like he's going to commit to the follow-up attack. I don't think he wants to expand. And probably this is his form of mind games, right? Like we were talking about, is he going to go bio? Is he going to kind of do something that's not delayed mech? Well, he is doing something completely different from the past 2 games, and that is he's not expanding. He's not setting himself up for a late game situation. He's setting himself up for a really strong early timing attack. But it looks like Avi-Love knows what's going on, and it's kind of easy to know what's going on because you have these flying units, Mutalisks, that can just fly around and check every base. So presumably he knows that Terran is not actually trying to expand. Terran doesn't have a third base, and he's been making an appropriate amount of Mutalisks. Now, the problem that he's going to face soon is that vessels are going to come out. But again, I mean, MadiNho is going to be super strapped for gas. And even if he has 1 vessel with a radiate, it's going to take a while for him to get up to 2 to 3 vessels. But even 1 irradiate going off on the Mutalisk, it's not going to be that impactful. You really want to have 2 or 3, and that's going to take a while and a lot of gas to get to.
So Avi-Love taking bottom right. Hatchery is going to complete. That is so many Mutalisks. And now we have the first initial Hydras coming out. Of course, a mine gets a few kills there. It just seems like any mine that's on the map just has Hydra kills written all over it. Academy's coming down, and that has already jacked up the gas there for MadiNho, so that's a bit unlucky for him. And I'm looking at the map, and as a Terran player, you look at this map and you're just like, well, Zerg already has half the map. What can Terran really do? It's not like Terran has 3 or 4 bases here. So MadiNho's in a bit of trouble, and his unit comp is not the greatest either. Have you seen a single tank?
Yeah, I was going to say exactly that, Nyokin, that this is getting a bit scary, though, for Avi-Love if he remains on pure Mutalisk. I think he needs to think about going into Hydralisks, because MadiNho has only been making vessels and Goliaths, which is the prime counter to Mutalisks. So I think if he actually ends up adding a couple of Hydralisks here, it's going to be so hard for MadiNho to really do any, like, adjust at all, because he doesn't have any gas to just throw down a bunch of add-ons and start tank production. And I think he's just going to get overwhelmed by Hydralisks.
Yeah, tons of Hydras being pumped out by Avi-Love right now. Supplies are getting very close. It was, what, like a 20 to 30 supply lead for Avi-Love just a few moments ago. Now it's only 10 supply lead for MadiNho. He does take the mineral only. That does not have any gas, so that's sure, of course, going to be beneficial, but he needs to start getting top middle. Looks like that's a command center going up for him. Still lair tech for Avi-Love. This could be dangerous, but we saw last game, he essentially only was on lair tech the entire game, so maybe not a big deal for him. I wonder what his upgrades are, actually. If he's at 0-0, he's going to be in big trouble on the Hydralist, because these Terran units should be 2-2 pretty soon, maybe about a minute or so. Plus 1 weapon, it's okay, but needs to be careful because the plus 2 power spike can be kicking in pretty soon. Looks like MadiNho's got a sizable enough army that he's looking to make an attack. He's positioned a ton of his units on the right side. He's got a couple vessels there too. So these Mutalisks, if they come in, could get shredded very, very quickly.
Yeah, and the more time passes here, the worse these mutas are. Like, and again, Avi-Love taking so much time, giving so much time to MadiNho. I know it's hard to find the timing attack here for Avi-Love. Maybe he's going to try and go for a counterattack. But seriously, guys, every minute that passes, these Mutalisks are losing value, because MadiNho is adding more vessels, and also the upgrades are getting closer, but again, MadiNho is only on 2 gas. He can only make so many units. This is literally all MadiNho has. He's gonna cut off these Mutalisks. The Irradiates are gonna be huge here. Only gets 1 off and doesn't get that much damage. But the thing is, the split off Mutalisks kind of fly back into the Goliath spam from MadiNho. Loses a couple of Goliaths there, but now Avi-Love knows what's up. He knows where the Terran army is. And he has a lot of Hydralisks, so looking to get an engagement soon.
There is no tanks in sight. It is pure Goliath and vessels. Ling Defiler would obliterate this comp, but as played, this is just going to be mutas and hydras with a dream versus mass Goliaths and mass Irradiate. And I don't think that he's going to trade that effectively. 2 toots got to be done for MadiNho now. If it's not, it's exceptionally close. Here comes Hydra, man. He's trying to intercept this army. He did blow all of his energy on Irradiates. This might be the fight that Avi-Love needs, because there is actually half of the Goliaths on the left side of the map. Hydra's getting onto the high ground, but look at how strong these Goliaths are. But maybe there's just flat out too many Hydras. Irradiate comes down. Looks like actually MadiNho is going to hold on. He's going to lose half of his Goliaths, but Avi-Love does take out the majority of it.
Yeah, but he's not through the woods yet. I mean, the high ground is working so well for Avi-Love. That was a really good trade from Avi-Love. And Avi-Love is just banking so many resources, though. That's the big problem. He needs to be spending that way more efficiently than he is. Should have way more hatcheries just now going into Queen Tech. I wonder, yeah, so I mean, you know, it's not, it's just, I think Avi-Love may be succumbing here to the pressure. He's having a hard time macroing. You can see he's playing a bit slow. And it's hard, man. It's hard to find the solution. He does have a lot of queens, so tanks aren't going to be a problem, but MadiNho already wasn't making tanks to begin with, and MadiNho actually secured his mineral only, secured 12 o'clock. Now he has a tank. Queens are coming in, but they're only going to be able to broodling Goliaths here, which is not the best value. Even I don't even think you should be broodlinging Goliaths. I think you should just save it and keep making Hydras. But look at Avi-Love's resources, man. He needs to spend his money.
He's got so much resources to spend. Also, I'm noticing that MadiNho has top right. It looks like he's only mining the gas there, but that's fine. He doesn't necessarily need the minerals right now. And Avi-Love may actually lose bottom left. Vestal is here, so he can D-Matrix a couple Goliaths on the ramp. That's going to buy time for these 4 Goliaths to knock down this hatchery potentially. But instead, there's just way too many Hydras. They are going to save this base. And Avi-Love, he is going to hold on for now, but supplies are getting closer and closer. It's 130 to 130. MadiNho does need to be wary of setting up a defense at top right, though, because Avi-Love saw top right. He saw it with an Overlord. He knows that it's up and running, and you know that he's definitely got his eyes set on that top right corner, so he needs to scramble to get up mines or something. 1 tank, 4 Goliaths, that's not going to be enough. This might be another army falling for MadiNho, and also maybe top right falling too.
Yeah, definitely Avi-Love is going to clean this up. He has so many Hydras here. And MadiNho still doesn't have +2 armor upgrades, which the armor upgrades on mech are really important against Hydralisks specifically, but he does have +2. And Avi-Love, not the greatest upgrades either on his Hydras, so... But the thing is, MadiNho is going to have a really strong attack here with a lot of tanks. I wonder... The thing is, Avi-Love used a lot of his Queen's energies earlier on those Goliaths, and I think now it's going to come back to punish him, because a lot of these Queens could have Broodling right now, but they don't. And MadiNho is going to be able to get into position here. He's sieging up a bunch of tanks. He has a really good composition against mass Hydra. But this is a lot of Hydras. I don't know if he has enough, though. The 5 tanks are shelling the Hydras down. A lot of them are engaging vultures and not hitting the tanks. And I think MadiNho's done it. I mean, Avi-Love has so much bank, though. He should have way more units than he does. Probably queuing up a bunch of Mutalisks because they're the easiest to kind of spend money on, and they have high impact. D-Matrix and Irradiate from 1 vessel going down, changing the fight completely. These Goliaths are going to be barely not enough, so actually Avi-Love is going to be able to completely clean this up. He has a lot of bases behind this. He also denied MadiNho's attempt at taking top right, so MadiNho only on 2 bases now, 12 o'clock and his mineral only. Meanwhile, Avi-Love does have basically 4 bases going. So again, though, Terran units streaming down here, and is Avi-Love gonna have enough. I think by denying this 12 o'clock, he's actually gonna completely shatter the Terran economy, and the reinforcements are just gonna whittle down any time now.
Yeah, Avi-Love's done it. He's denied top middle. He's up 40 supply. He's got so many Mutalisks, and MadiNho can't build that many Goliaths. He just doesn't have the econ for it. He's picking off tanks left and right too. And this is going to be Avi-Love, unless there's another miracle from MadiNho. Maybe that vessel can get off another hero irradiate, but he needs one more energy. There it is, and that's a pretty good irradiate. It's going to knock down a decent chunk of Mutalisks. But look at how skimpy the Goliath army is. It's only 5, but apparently that's more than enough to push back Avi-Love for now. But it's just a money game at this point. There's just no econ for MadiNho. It's still 4 or 5 base mining for Avi-Love. He's just got so much resources. He's just got such a huge bank. He's up 60 supply. His upgrades are kicking in. He's got +2 weapon. I still don't know if he has Hive. And MadiNho's army is strong. He's got a lot of tanks, but he just doesn't have the anti-air.
Yeah, I totally agreed with you. And I mean, he doesn't have the econ. He still has, I mean, this army is pretty impressive, but unlike the other games, he doesn't have vessels to EMP queens. So I think a bunch of queens are going to come in here, get a lot of broodlings off onto the tanks. 1 goes down, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 go down. They all completely evaporate, and MadiNho's army just completely crushed. Now the Zerg army is going to come up as a follow-up attack, and what a throw. GG, well played. MadiNho frustrated with that game. I don't know if it was a throw. I think there was no clear advantage there the entire game, but you can see MadiNho probably expected to win that, and Avi-Love pulling through, which is surprising given the first Benzene game.
Yeah, I am a little bit surprised that Avi-Love played as well as he did, but he looked pretty solid. The Eclipse game was good. It looked like it was going to get out of hand at some point when MadiNho was securing bases, but the Polypoid game looked much better, and unfortunately, MadiNho is going to be knocked down into the losers bracket, and it's going to be Avi-Love moving into the winners bracket. The winner